Gratitude is a key component of healing and the healing journey. And it's also a key component of prevention. So for me and for my patients, and when I'm working with them, I'm really looking at where are they on the spectrum of gratitude, and can we cultivate more gratitude in their life?
Stay connected to gratitude. Hit the follow button right now and join thousands of listeners tuning in each week. We're the Gratitude Seekers. Come join us. Hi, Gratitude Seeker. Welcome to a new episode of the Gratitude Podcast. Our guest from today is an integrative medicine physician, functional culinary medicine practitioner, nutrigenomics biohacker, wellness coach, and entrepreneur who, in the past 2 years, has amassed a huge following online with her straightforward, science and evidence-based biohacking message. She's also an author of the book, The Anatomy of Well-Being. And we're going to talk a little bit about this book, about her experience, about gratitude, about health in general. And I'm really happy to have here with us Dr. Monisha Bhanote. Welcome to the Gratitude Podcast.
Thank you so much, Georgian. I'm looking forward to speaking with you today and to the Gratitude Seekers. So what I'm working on is I'm trying to bring to mainstream a whole body approach to healing, combining both conventional medicine, but also some of these other integrative modalities, which can be anything from mind-body therapies to botanicals and herbs to ancient wisdom from Ayurveda, and really make it accessible to all people so they can heal the way they need to heal, because healing is a very individual process. So this is what I've hoped to share in my book, The Anatomy of Well-Being, and that I hope to share in my messaging.
Wonderful. So let us know a little bit more about you, about your story, about your experience. How did you get to share this perspective?
So my experience started many decades ago when I did start in healthcare. And at that time, I started in the conventional model of taking care of patients in hospital setting and clinic setting. And something didn't feel right because I thought, all right, I'm a doctor, I'm helping them, but they're not getting better. So something must be wrong here, because what I was taught was you diagnose the disease and then you give them the medicine and they get better. And that was not happening. And so I thought, let me delve a little bit deeper into what is actually going on here. What's the mechanism behind disease development, more so than we learn in our few months of medical school, but really what is going on in this cellular level in the human body. And that is where I went into pathology from there, really looking at the transformation of normal human cells into abnormal or dysplastic, and then eventually cancerous cells. And this subtle changes that happen over time, but are really part of how we influence them with our lifestyle.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. We don't realize that the things that we do each day actually contribute to our health. And it's not just the fact that we mysteriously get sick at one point, right? It's the things that we do each day.
Yes, 100%. It's not what you do some of the time, it's what you do most of the time. And it is a ongoing process that you just like you said it, we don't just wake up one day and we're sick. If you actually look back at it, you might have had subtle signs or symptoms of this coming on, and we tend to ignore them when they are not that bad. But I know when I sit down with my patients and talk to them and really build their roadmap of their journey through their health, there are signs going all the way back to their childhood that they didn't think anything of because they didn't know. And maybe their parents didn't know or their teachers didn't know. So it is very important to understand that our health is a journey, and we actually can influence our journey and our own health more than we thought so.
Yeah, I think this is powerful because I believe a lot in empowerment, and in many situations, I believe that when we get sick, we feel like victims. We feel like this has happened to us. But I believe that if we take responsibility, we have the ability to respond and to do things differently. And yeah, I think the fact that we realize that there are certain things that if we do consistently, they're gonna have some kind of impact. Like with gratitude, it's if we are practicing gratitude constantly, we have a certain outcome, we have a certain direction and perspective on life. And I think it's very similar to what you see in your work. But I'm also very curious on your perspective on gratitude. How does gratitude fit into our overall health?
Yeah, absolutely. Gratitude is a key component of healing and the healing journey. And it's also a key component of prevention. So for me and for my patients, and when I'm working with them, I'm really looking at where are they on the spectrum of gratitude, and can we cultivate more gratitude in their life, and really teaching them the simple way of doing it, because it's not that difficult to do it. It's a matter of being intentional about it. And that's how I approach it, is really going from this life of living on autopilot through our daily rhythms and becoming more intentional. And rather than having habits or routines that sometimes burn us out, creating rituals, and even creating rituals around gratitude. If you don't have one, please, consider incorporating that. As little as 5 minutes of a gratitude practice, whatever that might look like. And I have a number of different ones that I talk about. But even that 5 minutes will impact your health in tremendous ways, because you're creating more positive emotions. You're able to relish these good experiences, and there are health benefits to the practice of gratitude, a number that have actually been studied.
Yeah, definitely. I think many of them are related to the way we sleep, the way we experience even the healing process. It's influenced by our state and by our state of gratitude, because it takes us in a different kind of brain state that helps us heal faster. So I think that's fascinating in the sense that, like I said before, we can see ourselves as victims of different kinds of illnesses, or we can empower ourselves and use gratitude and other tools to get better and to heal faster, and of course to change those habits that led to that particular condition, right? The holiday season can be hectic, and that's where HelloFresh's 15-minute meals come in. These quick fixes help you get a wholesome meal on the table in less time than it takes to get delivery. The most wonderful time of the year is also the most delicious, don't you agree? Enjoy every bite of the holiday season with HelloFresh. Choose from over 45 weekly recipes and over 100 curated picks from HelloFresh Market. I love the fact that HelloFresh makes the meal decision process so easy and healthy. I don't know about you, but with delivery I'm tempted to make unhealthy choices, so having a great fast option at hand makes the world of a difference. Go to hellofresh.com/gratitudefree and use code gratitudefree for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at hellofresh.com/gratitudefree with code gratitudefree. Enjoy America's #1 meal kit.
Yes, absolutely. And gratitude does, as you mentioned, it activates a certain part of the brain, and that part of the brain is involved in the reward system. So when we can activate that, that it's our dopaminergic pathway, our reward system in the brain. It's a mesolimbic area. And when we can do that, we can increase our motivation, we can regulate our desires. So gratitude, both the expression of gratitude and the receiving of gratitude is important, because by activating these pathways, we're increasing what I call our feel good or happy neurotransmitters or hormones, right? So we're increasing our oxytocin, our serotonin, and our dopamine in a good way. So I think the key message here is it's not just about expressing gratitude, it's also being able to receive it. So you want to have that kind of interaction with individuals, because you just giving them appreciation is good for you, but it's also good for them. So then we're creating a community and a sense of appreciation for each other, which is lacking in today's world.
Yeah, that's true. Unfortunately, it's so much easier for people just to be mean and to show lack of appreciation, let's say, in a kind way, than to show appreciation and to say something good about another person. And in contrast, when we feel that we are unappreciated, when we feel that when we hear words of disapproval, let's say, that puts us in a certain state. And by, like I said, in contrast, when we are appreciated, when we feel grateful, when we hear words of appreciation, our body reacts to that, and it feels different in our body. And yeah, I'm sure that you know much more about this than me, but it helps us physically with all of the other things that are going on inside our body.
Yes, absolutely. When you have that internal feeling of being appreciated, you in turn are more likely to that will increase your self-esteem, that will make you more appreciative. So I think there's also not just the biochemical aspect with the neurotransmitters. We have also found that having a practice of gratitude can decrease bioinflammatory markers. And in today's world, everyone's walking around with internal inflammation, right? And that inflammation does appear as many of our chronic diseases. So thinking about it, like when I'm thinking about it, and why I incorporate gratitude into every individual's treatment plan is because we want to decrease those inflammatory biomarkers, not just from medications, but also from the practice of gratitude. So things that we have seen decrease is cortisol levels, which is our stress hormone. We have seen blood pressure decrease. We have seen lower levels of hemoglobin A1C, which is a marker of somebody's blood sugar level over the past 3 months. We've also seen decreased intake of dietary fat. So really, it can impact so many different things, and I think it's really a matter of picking a gratitude ritual that works for you. And I talk about a number of these rituals because there's going to be different things that are going to work for each individual, and I want people to explore their ways of expressing gratitude.
Yeah, I believe this is the best way, and it's one of the reasons why I love doing this podcast, because it gives me and it gives our listeners, the gratitude seekers, all kinds of ways of practicing gratitude. And it's very interesting for me to see that while there are certain things that people usually recommend, there are so many nuances to how to practice it in a way that makes sense for you. And yeah, I believe it's what's most important is to find a way that works for you, that fits into your schedule and into your way of being. But I wanted to get to something that you shared a few minutes earlier. What is actually inflammation? So I don't know if our listeners are have a good understanding of this, but I believe it's a very important topic that we hear a lot about, but I don't think we really understand. So, for instance, when I think of inflammation, I think of, for instance, if I hit my knee, um, it it gets bigger in the moment, or if I hit my head or something, and this is my idea of inflammation. But what is it actually? Because it's something that's influencing our health quite a lot, and I at least don't think I have a really good grasp on it.
Yeah. So what you described is, when you hit your knee and it becomes swollen and maybe it becomes red, and that area becomes inflamed. So that is one aspect of a very localized condition of inflammation. Okay. So, which in that sense, it's actually okay, because when you have some kind of uh, physical trauma, you want what we call inflammatory cells to go to that area to rescue and take care of that inflammation. But when I was referring to inflammation earlier, I'm talking about this more chronic, low grade inflammation that we are experiencing in our entire body, where our body is producing certain inflammatory chemicals that are then impacting the functionality of our different cells, tissues, organs, body structure. So, so there is a localized spectrum of inflammation, but then there's also this more chronic, not at this acute moment, but underlying inflammation that is one where you might not realize it's going on until it's impacted so much. And I think that goes back to one of the things you had said earlier, which is, we're kind of just going along in our life and we don't realize until much later that something has impacted our health. But more than likely, it was something going on for this longer time that didn't look like a big bump on your leg, so it was so obvious to you, but maybe it was a little, all right, a little stiffness in the joints when you woke up, or a little fatigue, or just not feeling like yourself, and you pushed yourself through it. And I think that is just like a big picture view, that if you're not feeling to the best of yourself, that there's probably something that you can look at and evaluate further to say what is going on in your body. Because I I do believe that your cells communicate with you, and if you're willing to listen to your cells, they will tell you what's going on. And listening to them and really taking care of them and nurturing them, whether that is through quality sleep, whether that's through the movement that your body requires, or proper nutrition, or a mind body practice like gratitude, is really the way to take care of your body.
We're all grateful for having a roof over our heads and love the comfort it brings us, so we spend a lot of time indoors. Actually, did you know that Americans spend an average of 90% of their time indoors and take about 20,000 breaths a day? Unfortunately, the quality of the air inside is 2 to 5 times more polluted than outdoor air, according to EPA. With that in mind, I love having my windows open as much as possible to let fresh air in, but with the noise and air pollution, it's not always possible to do so. Thankfully, Air Doctor offers us an alternative that's quiet and efficient. It's the air purifier that caught the attention of CNN, ABC, Money, and many more. Air Doctor filters out 99.99% of dangerous contaminants and allergens such as pollen, pet dander, dust mite, mold, and even bacteria and viruses, so our lungs don't have to. Even more so, Air Doctor comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you don't love it, just send it back for a refund minus shipping. Head to airdoctorpro.com and use promo code GRATITUDE, and depending on the model, you'll receive up to 39% off or up to $300 off. Exclusive to podcast customers, you will also receive a free 3-year warranty on any unit, which is an additional $84 value. Lock the special offer by going to airdoctorpro.com, that's airdoctorpro.com, and use promo code GRATITUDE. Wow, I love this idea of communicating with ourselves, but how can we do it?
Well, the first way to communicate with your cells would be to listen to them. To just take a moment to pause and listen to what's going on in your body. And that requires a certain degree of self-awareness. And we don't take the time to do that. We don't take the time to go, all right, what do I feel today? Do I feel energized today, or do I feel like yesterday my brain worked really hard, I need a rest day? Instead, we tend to just keep going and going and going to the point of exhaustion. So I do want you to take a moment to tune into what is going on with your body. And that really leans into the practice of being mindful, and being mindful in your present day, even if it's something around what we do every day. Everybody eats every day. You can even start with a mindful practice around eating your meal and paying attention to, how did that meal make me feel? Did I feel energized after it? Did I feel lethargic after it? You can even incorporate a gratitude practice into your meal. You know, often we sit at the table and we'll say a prayer before the meal, like a thank you. But how about a thank you after the meal, that the meal has nourished you, and really taking that moment. So I think just starting with the self-awareness is the beginning point of that.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And um, we so seldom do this. And it's so good that you're talking about this, because we tend to do the things that we feel we should do. We feel that we need to do. There are so many things that want our attention, that need our attention one way or another, that we just forget about ourselves. We tend to become human doings instead of human beings, and we tend to forget about the fact that we need to take care of ourselves and as well. And in some situations, we need to put ourselves first, even if it's not that easy, and even if we're trained basically not to do so. Because I see in my own example, um, there are times when uh, after a few days when I'm very busy, I tend to continue in the next few days at least in the same kind of way, even if I don't have as many things that I need to do. And I just get trained to be like this, and it's really not that easy to just take it slow and get back to being rather than just doing, you know. So what can we do to flip the switch?
Yeah, so this is a great point. Like I said, we kind of just go on autopilot, and then when we have that time to slow down, we don't even know what to do with it. This practice of gratitude really does go back much further. We see it in the yoga philosophies, and one of the areas is in the niyamas in yoga philosophy called santosha. And santosha
Mhm.
is basically it translates as contentment, but it's not the type of contentment where you might think just sitting back and without any need to do anything. But this is really the contentment that we can find through gratitude, where we are really appreciating what we have and what we already have done, and really moving forward from there. So I think, what can we do to for this? Just like anything else, like you study for, what you want to be when you grow up, or you increase your skills for your job. This is a life skill that you want to add. Gratitude and santosha are both, they're life skills that will improve your life beyond what you possibly could have even imagined. Like I said, from your health and making you able to handle adversity, improving your relationships. Um, so but it needs to be practiced. And I really invite you to just find that 5 minutes in the day, whether that's in the beginning of the day or the end of the day, and maybe even in the afternoon. Like I do a gratitude walk daily. Everyone knows I'm a big walker, and a gratitude walk is really just a 10-minute thank you walk. And that in that 10 minutes, just really being thankful for the sun rays hitting you, and the ability to breathe in and see your surroundings, and just really activating that parasympathetic state. So as simple as a gratitude walk,
I
instead of
love
just
this.
hurrying. And I am a fast walker when I'm in the hospital, but I do take my time to pause when I'm out in nature.
Yeah, I love this. And um, I think it's amazing that you actually gave us a great example. So even if we are in a hurry all the time, or we feel that we need to do so many things, and I can only imagine in your case how um, aware and present you need to be. Um, we can take the time to slow down consciously and just instead of running from one place to another, to slow down and to take a walk. And it's indeed, it's so helpful, like in many situations, um, just getting outside, connecting with nature, and um, taking a walk, and even better, a gratitude walk in which we really are aware and we really focus on the things that we're grateful for. That's so powerful. And it's so simple. This is what I love about it. It's something that we can all do, even if it's, so we don't actually need to have so many tools, so many things, like in other practices to be able to do this. We just need to choose to do this, because in many situations we feel that maybe we're too busy in the office, or we're too busy around the house to take this walk. But it's so important, and it's something that makes the rest of the day so much better. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing this idea. It's very powerful.
The holiday season can be hectic, and that's where HelloFresh's 15-minute meals come in. These quick fixes help you get a wholesome meal on the table in less time than it takes to get delivery. The most wonderful time of the year is also the most delicious, don't you agree? Enjoy every bite of the holiday season with HelloFresh. Choose from over 45 weekly recipes and over 100 curated picks from HelloFresh Market. I love the fact that HelloFresh makes the meal decision process so easy and healthy. I don't know about you, but with delivery I'm tempted to make unhealthy choices. So having a great fast option at hand makes the world of a difference. Go to hellofresh.com/gratitudefree and use code gratitudefree for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at hellofresh.com/gratitudefree with code gratitudefree. Enjoy America's #1 meal kit.
Yes, and there's another one I'll share, because I think this is another thing that I see quite commonly is really slowing down when we are eating, and really having mindfulness around our meals. And because this distracted eating, it can have negative consequences, whether we're eating on the go and mindlessly munching on snacks, or watching a show, or in the middle of, a stressful work day. We're not engaging in that mindful eating. But we actually have a very large study from France that looked at the mindfulness eating habits of over 60,000 people. And they found that the ones who actually took the time to be mindful and more present around their meals were less likely to be obese and overweight. And obesity is a big problem in our current world, contributing to many chronic diseases, including cancers. So, like I said, one of the steps, beginning step of being mindful, is that gratitude before and after your meal, but then also that being present in the beginning and putting away your cell phone, and just focusing on that eating, and then observing, doing a little belly check, noticing, how is your body feeling? Does it feel like low energy? Is your stomach rumbling? Is it feeling stressed, or is it feeling pretty full? And then having non-judgment when you're having your meal, really being compassionate, noticing when rigid rules pop up into your mind around, oh, I shouldn't eat that, or I should have that, and savoring it. I think savoring is also part of gratitude, right? Noticing the flavor, the aroma of the meal. all of this, guess what it does? These sensory experiences during mealtime will actually stimulate your GI tract. So it will stimulate the release of the digestive enzymes that you need to improve your digestion and even increase your nutrient uptake. So I know when I'm working with individuals, and almost everybody I've interacted with has some underlying state of digestive issues. And the first thing they need to do is slow down when they're eating and actually eat their food and chew their food and start from there.
That's so simple. And I love simple things. It's not easy to do if we don't have a good habit around it, but it's simple. And we do this every day. And I love these kinds of habits these kinds of gratitude habits that we can link to something else that we already do. At least a few times a day, we're gonna eat. We can choose to eat the same way that we used to, or we can be more mindful about it. We can be, like you said, more mindful about the way we chew, about the savoring of the food, and we can have a quite different experience of the simple things, basically, the things that we can take for granted really easily, because thankfully we are in a good enough situation where we can eat each day, a few times a day. We have the necessary food. It might not always be the healthiest or the best one for us, but we still have that, and it's something that we can appreciate. And yeah, it's funny that you mentioned being grateful afterwards. For me, that's the easy part. Being grateful before, I'm working on that consciously, because I tend to be quite hungry, and it's a bit harder because I just want to eat, you know. Yeah. So I also wanted to ask you about your whole perspective, the whole perspective on healing, this idea of holistic. So aside from gratitude, what are the other parts that we need to take into consideration?
Yeah, so when it comes to healing, we're really looking at the entire body, your entire ecosystem that is working inside you so hard. So when it comes to healing, it's not just focused on one key organ and its function. It's really a combination, because one cell is communicating with another cell to make your body work. So where does that healing comes in? And it's really quite simple. And that's what amazes me, is that we skip over the simplest of areas to optimize our simple needs that we need to optimize. So when I'm seeing individuals who are doing biohacking and doing this extreme of implants and things that you can't surpass the basics. Like it's kind of like you can't put a roof on a house without building the walls. So I always want you to think of, what can I do for my body first? I mean, some of these techniques like adequate, proper breathing is the best biohack you could probably do, because then you're increasing the oxygen and blood flow that your organs require. Something so simple as that, right? That to me is a biohack. Chewing your food and really optimizing that food that you're putting in to make sure that it is breaking down, and your body is able to take up the nutrients that your cells require to function. People are walking around totally depleted. They're eating food. Actually, they're not really eating food. They're eating frankenfoods, but they're not nourishing their body. So their body eventually gives out on them. So thinking, just like I said, these basic things: sleep, quality sleep, not just I was in bed for 8 hours. Were you receiving quality sleep? Were you allowing your brain to rest? Because when you're sleeping, your brain is actually clearing out. It's got its own cleaning system, the lymphatic system, and it's clearing out things that have been made throughout the day, damaged proteins, toxins that we don't want in our body. So if you're not sleeping, you're not giving your body an opportunity to do these things. Movement. The body was meant to move. I know individuals who might be experiencing hip pain and knee pain, like joint pain. What do? They sit even more because they feel that if they move, they're going to experience pain. But the only way to bring blood flow and nutrients and healing to those areas is to move your body. These are just some of the simple ones, right? And then we can think about how can we, for holistic healing, is how can we not have excess toxins in our body? What are we using on our body? What are we putting in our body? What are we exposed to in the environment? How can we effectively remove those toxins so they are not slowing down our body? Let's think, what about emotions? How are we taking care of our emotional well-being? How are we processing our emotions? Not bottling them up, but allowing both positive and negative emotions to exist for us, but then having tools to process them. Which gratitude journaling is an ideal tool to process emotions. So thinking about it from that perspective, I think holistic is that whole body approach from the mind to the body down to your cellular level, really.
Love it. And it just makes so much sense. I'm sure that for our listeners as well, because sure, you can do all kinds of crazy things, and there are all kinds of things that come up every day. But I believe the natural ones and the ones that are simple, that we need to do each day to keep ourselves healthy, these are the ones that are most impactful. We tend to want quick fixes and things that we just need to do once maybe, or for a few days, but the truth of the matter is, at least in my experience, that it's important what we choose as habits. And when we hear about things that you mentioned, to think about, okay, what things I'm actually doing from the ones that I've heard. Am I, for instance, if I have knee problems, am I just sitting around, or am I moving my body to make sure that it gets better, and the blood and the circulation helps with the healing and with the body getting better. So it's down basically, from what I'm hearing, to ourselves, to the way we treat ourselves, to the way we tend to prioritize ourselves. And in many situations, we feel that, okay, we have to prioritize all kinds of other things. But in my experience, if I don't prioritize myself in many situations, I end up not being able to do those other things,
The holiday season can be hectic, and that's where HelloFresh's 15-minute meals come in. These quick fixes help you get a wholesome meal on the table in less time than it takes to get delivery. The most wonderful time of the year is also the most delicious, don't you agree? Enjoy every bite of the holiday season with HelloFresh. Choose from over 45 weekly recipes and over 100 curated picks from HelloFresh Market. I love the fact that HelloFresh makes the meal decision process so easy and healthy. I don't know about you, but with delivery I'm tempted to make unhealthy choices. So having a great fast option at hand makes the world of a difference. Go to hellofresh.com/gratitudefree and use code gratitudefree for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at hellofresh.com/gratitudefree with code gratitudefree. Enjoy America's #1 meal kit.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually say hashtag self-care is self-care. So taking care of your cells is one of the most important things you can do, because I'm a witness to the difficulty and challenges when somebody is experiencing a chronic disease. What they say to me is, I wish somebody would have told me. I wish somebody would have told me that how I took care of my body would affect the development of, this disease. Because I think there's a maybe a misunderstanding in that, okay, if you get sick, there is a medicine that's going to fix it. And yes, there is a medicine that will help that symptom, but will it fix the damage and the what's happened to your cells? Not necessarily, because most medications are there to help the symptoms that you're experiencing so you can feel better. They are not reversing that cellular process, and that's really up to you to take care of that. So I don't want you to think that, yes, you might need medications at some point, but you might be able to have a lower dose of that medication because you've been taking care of your body. So don't wait to take care of your body. And also, it's never too late to start taking care of your body and really taking care of your cells, listening to your body. Like after you eat a meal and you feel sluggish and you're feeling like some kind of heartburn, maybe that's not the meal you want to have on a daily basis, because people don't realize that feeling of heartburn is acid coming back up from your stomach into your esophagus. And what is that doing? That's causing damage to the esophagus lining. So much so that damage actually transforms the cells that are there from the normal squamous cells that we see in the esophagus to something that we call intestinal metaplasia or goblet cells, which are a precursor to the development of esophageal cancer later in life, right? So this is all a process that happens over time. And I have seen it over and over again, is maybe somebody who's experiencing that goes and gets a medication to keep that acid down, and yet continues to eat those foods that are, between black coffee to really fried, processed, oily foods that are really aggravating this area, thinking that the medicine is going to fix it. But that damage is still happening at a slower rate and eventually does catch up to you.
Yeah, this makes so much sense. And it boils down to what you just mentioned. Self-care is self-care. And the things that we we tend to do it to our bodies is something that just like, I don't know, like a spring, like a body of water that keeps flowing each day in even through rocks. In time, it gets to cut its own way. So I think it's something quite similar to the things that we're doing to our bodies, and I believe here the fact that we can have a body appreciation ritual, a way of being grateful for our body, for the fact that it's helping us do everything basically that we want to do, helps us choose differently the things that we put inside of our body. And one of our guests mentioned this, that what we love, what we appreciate, we tend to take care of. If we don't love and we don't appreciate our body, we tend to forget about it or to neglect it. So I think this is another connection between our bodies and taking care of our bodies and gratitude.
Yes, absolutely. Appreciation for what our body is able to do. And that is a form of gratitude, right? I mean, you can be grateful that you are able to go out and take a walk, or you can be grateful that you are able to sit down and eat a meal. I mean, some individuals can't do that. So these simple, very, very simple rituals that we are doing every day, that just to be grateful to wake up in the morning and have another day on this earth at this point is something to be grateful for.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, in my experience, whenever I can't do some of these things, I tend to remember and to think even more about the fact that, oh, that it was so amazing, especially when I get sick and I can't enjoy the savor and I can't savor food. I tend to think, oh my God, I so miss the taste of food, and it's so much more enjoyable when I can enjoy the taste. And yeah, it's better for us to be grateful for the things that we are able to appreciate right now, without having them taken from us, so that we can just think about the fact that we don't get to experience them anymore. So yeah, I think this is a powerful idea that we can all ponder on, and yeah, we can do things differently, hopefully in our each of our lives, and appreciate more just the simple things that our body helps us do, and the experiences that we are able to have thanks to our body. So let's know a little bit more about your book, about where our audience can get it, where our audience can get in touch with you.
Yeah, so my book, it's called The Anatomy of Well-Being. It's about taking intentional practices to embrace your body's unique design and revitalize your health. It is found on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, book retailers. So you can find that online. You can find me at my website, drbhanote.com. So that's DRBHANOTE.com. And I'm also on social media platforms with that same handle. So quite easy to find. And I really think, I wrote this book. It's quite a long book, almost close to 500 pages or 85,000 words. But I really wanted to give you the tools of what I call a fulfillment compass, and and really start with looking at your body's ecosystem and how you can nourish it from both the emotional way, the movement, the recovery, the mindset, toxins, even how to evaluate your physical and mental space around you, and create really powerful rituals in your life that will get you off of autopilot habits and really start living more intentionally and consciously.
Wonderful. I think we all need this, and yeah, just go get the anatomy of well-being and enjoy the read. Thank you so much for being here with us, for sharing your thoughtful and deep wisdom. I really appreciate it, and yeah, I'm sure that our listeners had an amazing experience as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Georgian, and thank you, Gratitude Seekers. I look forward to connecting with you somewhere in the world.
Hey, Gratitude Seeker, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this interview. I really appreciate it. And if you could think of one person that would also benefit from it, share it with them. It might actually be the inspiration that they need to make their day or maybe even their life much better. Thank you so much once again. This has been Georgian Benta. Don't forget to keep seeking and spreading gratitude.